We're following breaking news out of San Antonio right now. A 34-year-old Texas woman is charged with capital murder after at least 2 children were found dead inside a burned car this morning. The car was found on fire around 5 or 6 a.m. by a person walking their dog, according to the NBC station there. Firefighters and police were called out, and when they got the flames out, they found the children's bodies.
Right now, we believe those children are 7 and 5 years of age. The medical examiner will make the official positive identification. The suspect is 34-year-old Marlene Vidal from Edinburgh, Texas, who has stated that she is the mother of the children. She does have family connections here in San Antonio. At this stage,
we're not even a week out from Mother's. Well, we're just a week out. It's only been a week since Mother's Day. We just got done celebrating Mother's Day. Man.
Of the investigation, we have statements made by the suspect, along with surveillance video and evidence from the scene that indicate she was solely responsible for the death of these 2 children.
Jesus.
She has been charged with capital murder.
Police say they do believe the children's mother is responsible. She has been taken into custody and could face the death penalty or life without parole if she's convicted.
This is tragic. Like, you know how things are, like something is so evil you don't even have words for it? Like, yeah, that's a mother, like, unaliving her children in such a way. That's scary. Man, 5 and 7. Like, Jesus, I don't even have, words to really put to that other than, it's just sad. It's sad. The children didn't deserve it. I'm not going to make excuses for the mother, because there's just so many resources out there for her to get help and make sure her children have a safe place to be. I don't act like I know it all, but a lot of times, people are under stress of whatever the reasons are. I wonder if the father was involved. They didn't mention anything about the father. Yeah, it's just so many scenarios I can throw out there, but I think it's time to have an honest conversation about bad mothers. It's time. I've never had to deal with that, but I've said it before on this channel. I've talked to several women romantically who've had just bad mothers, and it's not something that we hear enough about. We hear enough about fathers being bad and being out of pocket and needing to do better, and they should do better, and they need to be talked about. But we don't hear that about mothers, because there's a lot of blame shifting, like, oh, the dad wasn't there in their life, so I had to do it all by myself. No, that's not why you were being abusive to the children. It's all these different blame shifting reasons that we hear about when those conversations are mentioned. We're not hearing enough about it, and there's no way. Obviously something was wrong for her to leave her children in the car, set the car on fire. Who knows if the children burnt? We don't know enough details, but to just let them burn and go down like that, it's just sad. And 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, what are you doing at 5, 6 a.m.? Like, normally people are sleeping or just getting up, because I know me at 5 a.m. I'm going to the gym. There are going to be other people up. Surprisingly, the gym at 5 a.m. is not like super packed like it is when it's at 3 p.m. and 5 p.m., 7 p.m. and all that. But it's a good amount of people moving and grooving, walking, exercising, heading to work, like doing things at 5 a.m. It's just, she out there burning children up. Yeah, they need to put her under the jail. I think the death penalty is definitely valid. 5 and 7 years old. Come on now. All these resources out here. Yeah, nah. Yeah, it's just senseless, man. It's sick. Mother's Day has only been a week. It's only been a week since we celebrated Mother's Day. You know, I would love to hear a little bit more about, you know, her, you know, the situation around her. Like, hope she didn't get no Mother's Day gifts. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just being honest. Like, such a sick person to do that to the children. Let's go to this next headline.
World Health Organization has declared a global public health emergency after an Ebola outbreak in Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, the DRC.
Western countries, they don't understand that when Africa is affected, they are also at risk.
So how contagious is it, and how worried should we be? Patient zero is believed to have been a nurse in the DRC who on the 24th of April presented with symptoms, fever, vomiting and bleeding.
C'est ce rapatriement de ce corps dans la zone de santé de Mongwalu, qui est une zone minière où il y a beaucoup de personnes, qui a fait flamber l'épidémie.
One big concern is that this outbreak could be particularly deadly because the Ebola strain is the Bundibugyo virus and there's no approved vaccine or drugs for it. It's the DRC's 17th outbreak since Ebola first emerged in the country in 1976. Ebola is highly contagious and spreads through bodily fluids such as vomit, blood or semen. The disease it causes is rare but severe and often fatal. In 2014, Sky's special correspondent Alex Crawford visited a UN Ebola centre in Liberia. Medics dressed her in special PPE to avoid any contact, physical or airborne, with patients there. It was one of the biggest Ebola outbreaks in West Africa. The WHO said 2 people who tested positive for the virus in Uganda were travelling from the DRC. One of them died.
It's not a simple disease. It's a deadly disease as well. So I should say, me as a Ugandan, I'm really frightened. I'm worried, I'm scared.
So how worried should we be?
Western countries, they don't understand that when Africa is affected, they are also at risk because people are flying every day. And it means building strong system, supporting Africa, investing in Africa to have the local manufacturing of our vaccine and medicine is also the way to protect Western countries.
The WHO said the outbreak does not meet the criteria of a pandemic emergency.
If it's not one thing, it's another. Man, I've heard of Ebola. I didn't know, with so many strands. In this particular strand, the lady's saying that they don't even have a vaccine for it. Man, I can't imagine. The man, I heard the man say, he said he's scared. I'd be scared too. They don't have a vaccine for it. It's a strand that they have, no help. Like there's nothing they can do for it. And the World Health Organization, it's just so much going on. Man, if it ain't one thing, it's another. I know some people from Uganda, but they're here in the States now. But man, I'm sure they have. I need to reach out to them. I'm sure they have, people that they know that are still there and who will possibly, who could possibly be affected by it. Man, we just have to be praying for people all over the world because there's so much going on and so many people, places, and things, man. Gotta be careful. Gotta be prayerful. Let's go to this next headline. This is tragic.
The search for 4 missing Italian tourists in the Maldives has come to a devastating end. Rescue divers have now recovered their bodies from a notorious underwater cave known as Shark Cave, following what officials are calling the country's deadliest diving disaster ever. Authorities say an elite team of rescue divers located the bodies Monday nearly 500 feet below the surface, days after the group disappeared during an exploration dive. The victims have been identified as 52-year-old Monica Montefalcone, her 20-year-old daughter Georgia Salazar, 31-year-old Muriel Adenino, and 31-year-old Federico Gatteri. The body of their dive instructor, Gianluca Benedetti, had already been recovered on Friday. At this time, officials say the exact cause of death for all 5 divers remains unclear. According to reports, the recovery mission was so dangerous that the local crews were unable to reach the depth required to enter the cave system, leading an international rescue team to assemble within just 48 hours. Officials say around 20 other Italian tourists had been aboard the Duke of the York yacht before the doomed excursion began Thursday. They have since returned home to Italy following the tragedy.
Wow. Listen, you know, some of my friends laugh at me, you know, whenever we go out the country or, I mean, we've done things, and I'm like, man, I don't want to do all those excursions. You know, just take me to a couple of the local restaurants in these different countries, and I'm good. I'll just stay at the resort, eat the resort food, hang out at the pool. I don't like doing a whole bunch of excursions when I go to other countries. And you know, I am kind of I'm one of those people who I don't even get on certain rides. Well, I don't get on any rides at the fairs. The fairs that they put those fairs together in a couple days or a week, and then everybody's out there riding. I don't even get on those rides. But if I go to like a theme park, you know, I may do something simple. But I'm just one of those people. I don't take risks like that. Diving, going down, and I'm sure people have gone into that cave before, and it was fine, because obviously there was a whole nother crew coming to dive, you know, to go into this deep cave. But he's like, oh, no, we ain't coming. It's tragic, though. You know, it's tragic. You know, 20-year-old, 52-year-old, 31, I think 2 or 3 31-year-olds, and the instructor. It's like 6 people. Fairly young, 52 years old isn't that old. Man. Yeah, I'm going to stay at the resort. And, you know, when I went to Italy, all I did was I went to Rome, Venice, and what was the other one? Oh, my goodness. The fashion capital. Rome, Venice. Oh, my goodness. I can see it, but I can't find the name of it. Not Switzerland, obviously. Rome, Venice. It was one more. Where all the designer stores are. I can't think of it right now. But anyways, when I went, you know, I'm one of those type of people. I only want to see a few things, and I'll just walk around and see the country. I don't want to try any of these, like, I hate to say it, but I'm not one of those crazy excursion kind of people to where I just like want to be on every kind of excursion. And of course, they weren't even in Italy. They were in the Maldives. Where is the Maldives? Hold on, let me do a little bit of research to see exactly where it's Maldives. I know there were a lot. Like at one point in time, there were a lot of celebrities going to the Maldives, especially for like this was like sports players. I remember hearing about them going to the Maldives after the season to kind of relax. I don't know if it's still a popping spot. Where? Oh, it's an island located in the Indian Ocean, southwest of India. Okay. Yeah. I've heard of it. The water is beautiful. Oh, my goodness. Let me look up the capital, fashion capital in Italy. Milan, that's it. I knew. I'm like, man, it's right there, Milan. Went to Milan, stayed out there a few days. It was pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But tragedy all around. But you know, there's still a lot of great things going on. I went to church yesterday, and let me tell you something. God is still good. God is still gracious. And the preacher talked about grace galore, how God has been so gracious to us. And I want to read that verse to you. You know, I do cover a lot of headlines, and, you know, some of them are negative. But I try to make sure that I end these things on a positive note for the most part, because I think it's just so important for us to keep in mind, like, yeah, these things are happening, but God is still good. we could still live with a hopeful mindset, and just to always keep our mind and our hope and our heart in Jesus. But so when he talked about grace in these few verses, he read verses 7 and 8. It says, so that in the coming ages he might show the immeasurable. Let me, I forgot I have this thing to where I could share my screen. Verses 7 and 8, let's check them out. 7 and 8 says, so that in the coming ages he might show the immeasurable riches of his grace and kindness towards us in Christ Jesus. For by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not of your own doing, it is a gift from God. And he talked about from the subject, grace galore. And I'm telling you, it was so powerful for me, because he was talking about how the grace of God is not cheap. It's not cheap, and we shouldn't just sin and act rambunctious just because God has so much grace. It costs a lot for that grace to be given to us. But he gave an analogy, and I'll say that, and then I'll be done. He gave an analogy saying a son got his father a gift, and he had carved out almost like a head of a horse from a tree, and he put these hooks on this wooden gift and gave it to his dad. Of course, he put a stick so that it could stand up, and he told his dad that he could put his ties on it. His ties on it. Well, as he got older, his dad, of course, had the gift in the closet, sitting against the wall. He had his ties on it. As he got older and looked at the gift, he said when he was young, he was so impressed by how he was able to carve out this face of a horse, and he thought it was such a great gift. But as he got older, he realized it wasn't that great of a gift, and he shouldn't have been that impressed with what he did, because it didn't look that good. Yet his father still used it and had it up all that time, like it was a good gift. And the preacher correlated that to us and God. It's like the gifts that we do have, sometimes we're so impressed with what we're doing. We think, I'm doing such a great job at this, and it's so amazing. But it's really not even about our gift, and it's not that God is super impressed with our gifts. He uses us because he's just a good God. He's a loving God. And he doesn't look at our gift and be like, oh yeah, this is nothing. But he make use of it, even though, with God, God created the sun, the moon, the stars. There's nothing we can give to him and do for him that will be as impressive as what he's done. Yet, because he's a good God, he's a loving God and Father, he uses our gifts and he accepts our gifts. And I don't know, that just spoke to me about how loving God is, because sometimes not sometimes, a lot of times we're more impressed with ourselves than we should be. You know what I'm saying? And especially when it comes to salvation, we really think I'm believing in God and I'm doing these things. And other than when we're getting things wrong, but when we're getting things right, we feel like, I'm so good, I'm so great. But the whole time it's just man, it's not that impressive to God. God is holy of holy. He's so holy, it can't even be, described to us, But yeah, that really stuck with me. And I hope, I don't know, I hope the analogy kind of hits home with you about God is not necessarily needing to be impressed with your gift, but because he loved you so much, he willingly receives it, and he, makes use of your gifts and your talents. And because at the end of the day, it's not really about you and I, it's about him. And not only that, this gift of salvation is surely that. We couldn't, even if we tried our best, we couldn't earn it. So, there's so much going on in the world, a mother unaliving her children, the tourists, probably on vacation in Maldives. It's a really expensive island, they go out and they go cave diving, and, they don't come back alive, not even the instructor. And then Ebola is breaking out over in Africa, so much going on, and yet here, you and I, you're watching me, I'm sharing this, and you got things going on, because God is still being good. In the midst of evil happening, in the midst of bad things happening, suffering going on all over the world, grief, heartache, layoffs, all kind of things, yet here we are. So let's remember how good God is, how gracious he is. Let's not take that grace for granted. And let's not, look at the grace like it's cheap, like it costs nothing. Let's not continue in sin, Let's strive with God by way of our faith in Christ. All right? Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section about these headlines, and I'll see y'all in the next video.